Hey guys, this video that you're going to see is actually from my main program, Mental and Emotional Mastery. I filmed it a couple of years ago, and I wanted to release it free to the public because it describes a particular pattern that a lot of people have that is really just driving them nuts with their mental health. And I think it'll help a lot of you guys understand your own mental health in a better way. It'll give you a better understanding as to why you're probably feeling stuck doing what you've been doing for a long time. It'll help you understand some proactive ways to start to improve things. And very often when people go through this lesson, they go, oh my gosh, this is exactly me. And I'm hoping that you'll have that experience and get some helpful answers. So totally free for you, and enjoy it.
All right, everybody, welcome. This video should be short, but I want to share with you some details around a specific emotional pattern that may describe something that you've been dealing with. And this description should help you get a greater appreciation for why this may be happening, and then also, of course, how to shift it. So the pattern we're going to be digging into is what we call the crazy eight. So the crazy eight is a way to understand why it is very common for people to end up slipping back and forth between two very different emotional states that are often both very destructive. And so this usually comes in the combination of experiencing high levels of depression and sadness, and then next experiencing a high level of anger, blame, resentment. Okay. It can also occur with high levels of sad, broken, low energy depression, and then a high state of apprehension or anxiety, nervousness, that type of thing. It can also take the shape of a couple other different types of patterns, but usually those are the common manifestations, is going from one extreme to the next, going from, very sad to, very angry is probably the one that I see happen most commonly. The second most common would be going from high state of depression to high state of just, apprehension and anxiety and feeling freaked out. So, on the one hand, right, we've got the first emotional state, right, that we can use to describe using some words such as sad, weak, submissive, self-consoling, right, this broken type of feeling. And then, let's just say on the other end of the spectrum here, the counter emotion that people are swinging into is one of anger, feeling aggressive, feeling dominating, blaming, and feeling very brittle. I say brittle because when you're in that angry state, the anger is really just masking a sense of fear. And so the anger is kind of you puffing yourself up to try to appear strong, appear, like you've got everything put together, or that you are in the right, or that it's somebody else's fault, right? That type of thing. So what will happen is people will tend to vacillate between these two extremes. So sometimes they will spend a matter of a few minutes in one before going into the other. Sometimes it's a matter of a few hours. Sometimes it can even be a matter of a few days. But what will happen is they'll swing from one to the other and then back to the other, and so on and so forth. And very often by the time this pattern has set in enough times, you start to feel completely crazy, because why in the world would you be swinging back and forth between these two? And this is very often where people can end up getting themselves a diagnosis of bipolar disorder, even split personality disorder to some extent, borderline personality disorder, those types of things. So when you're dealing with a pattern like this, right, and remember, we look at everything in the terms of patterns rather than diseases or diagnoses. This is very often where you can get one of those misapplied diagnoses. So now what's going on here? Why is this happening, right? Why would this process be in place? Well, the basic understanding that you want to have at this point is that the nervous system, your human nervous system, is only able to experience one emotion for so long before it craves variety, before it craves a state change. And so you can, stay in a broken down, crying state for a period of time, but eventually, quite literally, your nervous system becomes tired of it. And you all of a sudden feel this urge to go, you know what? No, this isn't my fault. This is their fault because they did this and this happened here and that shouldn't have happened to me. So you'll swing from sad to angry because all of a sudden angry gives you a feeling and a sense of getting some of your needs met that being sad and broken was not meeting. It can make you feel strong. It can make you feel powerful. It can make you feel certain, as opposed to feeling uncertain and indecisive and broken and consoling and all of those things. And so it gives you the complete opposite emotion that you might be craving in that moment. And it takes you out of that state of feeling powerless for at least a second to being feeling powerful, even though it's an artificial powerful. And so the problem then becomes you're in the angry state for a period of time, you're blustering and you're getting all the energy out and you're venting or you're doing whatever you need to do, but then eventually you will run out of steam and your body will crave something different too, because it cannot hold that amount of tension in your body for that long. And so then your body, instead of craving tension, will now crave relaxation. And so your nervous system will go back into, oh, well, woe is me. And you'll go back into that emotional pattern. Okay. And so this will happen over and over and over again to the point where, you're going to end up isolating yourselves from your loved ones out of fear of judgment. And you're going to be in a state where you don't understand what's going on. You just know you're kind of along for this whipsaw type roller coaster, and you really don't know how to actually overcome it. Now, what most people do in response to experiencing a crazy eight like this is they will try to go down and out, meaning they will essentially try to, numb themselves or distract themselves from the fact that this pattern is happening. So some people will go to drugs, alcohol, cigarettes, binge watching television, zombie scrolling through social media, all sorts of things like that. So sometimes people will go into that mode where since you're so tired of going back and forth, you just want to turn off and try to get into one zone of consciousness. And without a pathway to actually feel consistently fulfilled and stable and certain, you're going to go into some sort of artificial means to give you something to cling on to instead of the crazy eight. So that's not really a sustainable way out, obviously. That's not really going to help you. Those little coping mechanisms are not going to serve you in the long run and are certainly not going to help you. So the better path is up and out. Okay, so up and out would be change your focus, change your language and meaning, change your physiology, right? Shift one of those three elements of the triad, change your emotional state, radically go and do something to get outside of yourself, go for a walk in nature, go do something that changes your focus in a way that serves you or serves other people, and sustainably learn how to interrupt and replace these patterns. That's the way up and out, okay? So I share this concept with you really just in the vein of helping you get a higher level of clarity of what you currently may be struggling with. So no formal assignment today. I just want you to reflect on this crazy eight. And I want you to think to yourself, is there a time where you have been manifesting this pattern? And are you manifesting it now? And if so, what are the two extremes that you go to? And then also I'd like you to get clear on, in your notes, not only what are the two extremes you go to, but then how are you distracting? How are you trying to pull yourself down and out from it? So that will be very helpful for you to get an understanding of. So as always, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your consistency. I applaud that, and excited to see you in the next video.